is Charter Local Edition. We're in Long Beach today, and we are joined by one of the newest members of the Long Beach City Council. Her name is Jeannine Pearce. It's good to see you.
Great to see you.
Thank you for joining us. I want to speak with you about a crisis that LA County is facing and the state as well, and that is a spike in homelessness like we have not seen ever.
Yeah.
LA County is now the homeless capital of the world. I think the nation, maybe not the world, the nation.
The nation, yeah.
And we are approaching 50,000 homeless in our county. What does
imagine?
that look like? What does that look like?
I mean, I think my first thing is just trying to put myself in someone's shoes that is living without shelter. And it looks to them like it's hopeless for them. It looks like small businesses not knowing how to help, not wanting to be impacted, homeowners that live outside of park areas where people might congregate, being worried. But it's a tax on our general society.
And I like the way you say that. It's a tax because it's a moral tax, it's an emotional tax, it's a financial tax.
It's not good for anybody.
It's taxing.
Yeah, and it's taxing to think about.
Right.
Because it's so big. How do you grapple
And
with
again,
it?
I'm glad you said that because in the past, we wouldn't have to think about it because the homeless were in Skid Row, wherever Skid Row was.
Right.
During this homeless crisis, Councilwoman,
the
homeless are everywhere.
Yeah, you have to see it and think about it and feel uncomfortable about how you feel about it. I think general people don't want to see somebody living on the street.
And again, God, you're saying all the right things because discomfort is what we're feeling. And you know, I've spoken with my daughters who are teens, and what they're feeling kind of encapsulates what a lot of us are feeling. We're simultaneously empathic but scared.
Yeah.
And we don't know how to manage that because we're afraid of the homeless because we don't know about them and are they mentally, but then we want to do something.
Right. And I think it's interesting because in Long Beach we have such a diverse community.
Right.
We have such a strong business community. Residents are engaged in neighborhood associations, strong nonprofits that are trying to do good. And I think we all felt like we've been doing a lot of good, especially over the last 10 years, and really trying our best to come up with creative ideas, but then to see the population grow and to feel like it's growing.
And let's talk about a creative idea that is being bandied about here in the city of Long Beach. And it deals with safe parking overnight. We at Charter have a bureau in San Luis Obispo.
Okay, great.
And
so you guys are very aware of it.
Right, and so Santa Barbara and San Luis Obispo, as well as other cities in the Central Coast area, have adopted these safe parking overnight programs. Explain them for our viewers.
Yeah, safe parking program is an item that I brought forward to council to really say, we have, so 2 years ago we did a homeless count and we had around 300 people that were living in their cars.
Right.
And whether it's one person or 300, that was 2 years ago. And I think we're going to expect to see more people living in their cars.
And am I correct in saying that under Long Beach ordinance that's not permitted?
It's not permitted.
You can't sleep in your car overnight.
No, you can't. And we had a homeless study session and we had a mom come and say, I kissed my kids goodnight in the backseat of my car. And it just, I can't imagine. I have a 4-year-old. I can't imagine what that's like. I can't imagine what it's like for the neighbor that has somebody sleeping outside their house knowing there's somebody in their car right outside my house. And so we have churches, we have services, we have a lot of nonprofits in Long Beach that have parking lots that are going unused at nighttime, that have services during the day, but at night are telling people they need to go somewhere else. And so the Safe Parking Initiative that I would like to see in Long Beach is one that ensures that there are lots that are connected with social services.
So they need to be connected.
Services. That's my big piece. We cannot say, here, just sleep here. We need to make sure, because what we know is that with someone that's been sleeping on the streets or sleeping in their cars, it might be the first time somebody from our health department talks to them that they decide, yes, I want to go through a process of trying to figure out job training, all the things that they need, shelter, education, any of that. It might be the 20th time that they talk to somebody because there's a level of mistrust. And so if we can have people that are in their cars, staying at places where there's services inside, they build a relationship, they build trust.
And part of the reason why I understand there's that mistrust is homelessness had been criminalized. And now we're looking at taking a different approach and not trying to criminalize it.
Right.
And do you feel as if through that different approach, the housing first approach, where we don't demand sobriety, where we're looking at ways to bring people in, is that trust being built?
I think that there are a lot of people that there's trust being built. We have a big challenge though. One is the cause of homelessness, which might be mental illness, it might be substance abuse, it might be loss of job. Our housing market, if you look since we've recovered, we have 2% vacancy in the city of Long Beach. We have people that say, yes, I want help. Yes, I will participate in programs, wraparound service programs, but we can't find them long-term shelter. And so they'll spend 2 days in a shelter, 2 days at a motel, 2 days at another shelter without any stability.
This year, the state Senate worked through the legislature and the governor to get money dedicated for permanent supportive housing.
Right.
The city of Los Angeles, I believe, recently passed an initiative for permanent supportive housing. Is Long Beach looking at getting some of that money through Prop 63? It was the redirection of Prop 63.
We're having discussions to figure out what that would look like in Long Beach and where we would build it and all of those tough questions, right? So one is long-term supportive housing. The other is that transitional housing that might say they have an income of $300 a month. Can it be supplemented with some other grants, some other state and federal funds? I just finished a meeting with nonprofits, with developers, and people that are doing those shipping container housing. To say, let's build some bridge housing in that first year. So that they get to get on their feet, and then people like apartment owners might be more willing to accept a Section 8 housing if they've already seen that they've dedicated a year to stable housing already.
I want to talk about those apartment owners because those apartment owners will get a Section 8 voucher or a voucher of another kind, but it doesn't cover the expense because we're in Long Beach. And with no vacancies, the supply and demand causes rents to go up.
Why go Section 8 if we're at 2%, the cost is rising?
So what can Long Beach do?
Well, our health department's doing a great job right now about advocating at the county and the state and the federal level to increase the amount of those Section 8 vouchers.
But the other challenge is that Governor Brown had wanted to ease some of the regulatory burdens to build affordable housing, but cities were a little, upset about that.
The conversation today is very different than it was 5 years ago, even 4 years ago. I think that we know that citizens in our city care enough and are willing to say, okay, while I didn't want to build that housing in my neighborhood before.
It's the whole NIMBYism
It's
challenge.
A little bit of that, and it's tough. And so I think it's breaking down and having as many conversations as possible and saying, look, we can save taxpayer money, we can save state money, we can save money on PD and fire going out and responding to people sleeping on the streets if we get them into housing. And the thing is not building huge complexes where you're housing just one type of population in one place, but we're building complexes that have transitional housing for people that are coming out of being homeless, for people that are vulnerable to potentially being homeless. The tech industry, the art community, putting those in one place is where you're going to see communities say, okay, I'm more willing to have that here than to have, 200 of whatever type of housing. So there are a lot of people right now with funding, a lot of people with vision, and my conversations, my role as a council member is bringing those people to the table, having the conversation with our city staff to say, well, we haven't done this in Long Beach, doesn't mean we can't do it.
You'll come back?
Yes.
She is Jeannine Pearce. She is a councilwoman in the city of Long Beach, where we are today. My name is Brad Pomerance on Charter Local Edition.